Everyone, back to the more YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day. And it looks like there's a weed in the garden. That's right. Dan Ashworth is fed up. He's sick of pruning his tulips, cutting his grass, painting his deck in. He's had enough of being in the garden and he's raging out against Newcastle United. Yes, the story is, in the latest development of this absolutely ridiculous saga, is that Dan Ashworth is now going to take Newcastle United to arbitration because he wants them to pay up his contract so he can go and join Manchester United as their sporting director. Now, if you didn't see, Sir Jim Radcliffe, or Sir Jim Twatcliffe as I like to refer to him as, was moaning to Gabby Logan at the London Marathon about how it's stupid that somebody has to stay in the garden for a year and a half before they can, take their job up and everything else. And it's frustrating. It's holding Manchester United's progress going forward. Well, boo fucking who, Jim? That's what happens when you go and try and poach staff from other clubs. Now, on to Dan Ashworth. This little shithouse is really showing his true colours here. So we got him from Brighton. He had a great reputation in terms of what he did with England and with Brighton. He signed a contract with Newcastle United, and within that contract, there was a clause that if somebody wanted to take him and poach him away from his current position at Newcastle United, then they had to pay the release clause. And that's what Newcastle United are digging their heels in over. And I think the release clause ranges from anywhere between, I think it's 15 to 20 million. I'm sure that the club would probably negotiate a fee of about 13 million after we've got Dan Ashworth's replacement probably lined up and ready to go to work, and we're happy to reach those agreements. We will not be bullied by this arrogant, Willy Wonka-looking motherfucker in Jim Ratcliffe, Twatcliffe, bossing people around and trying to tell them what they can and can't do. I'm pretty sure that certainly the PIF of Saudi Arabia won't be fucking dictated to by you, Sunshine. Neither will the Rubens or Amanda Staveley or Murdad, and Darren Eales as well. If this guy wants to poach somebody from a club and they've signed a contract, then you have to honour that contract and adhere to that contract. But Dan Ashworth has now been, maybe he's been forced or maybe he's chosen to take arbitration out against Newcastle United, which should begin next month. Now, just a word of warning there, Dan. The last fucker who had Ash in his surname didn't win his arbitration either. That was the old fat bastard himself, Mike Ashley, when he took on Newcastle United and the powerful lawyers that they have. So you could be made to look an even bigger fucking twat here and be stuck in your garden for even longer, Sunshine. So you better go buy yourself a gazebo or a fucking shed to build, because you could lose this case completely. And I just don't see how this gets overturned for Newcastle United. He signed a contract that said he was happy to agree to the terms and conditions of that contract. And if this other club has poached him, then he can't go anywhere. It's the same in normal work and life. I've got a good pal of mine, who's in a really good position. And if he was to have to leave his job and go to a competitor business, he'd be on gardening leave for a fucking long time. There's probably something in my contract and your contract. There's loads of the caveats within a contract that you sign in employment terms that means you can't go to a competitor for a period of time. The whole point of gardening leave, something these Manchester United fans are completely fucking overlooked, is that you're not allowed to go and poach, your clients, or in this case, players or people you want to work with, while you're in between jobs. And these people who think that, it's okay, Dan Ashworth's just doing work behind the scenes. No, that's illegal. You can't fucking do that. I suggest you lot read up on your employment manuals. But some of the drips I've seen, the comments from these blue tick plastic Man United fans who are probably in the far-flung reaches of the world, who don't even know where Old Trafford is on a fucking map, turning around saying that, Ineos will get anything they want. They'll do anything. They're ruthless. They'll do anything to get the job done. Anything other than pay the fucking release clause, because apparently old Sir Jim, the cupboard must be bare because he's only offering 2 million quid. Which Newcastle United have scoffed at and said that's way below what we want for Dan Ashworth. As a matter of fact, that's below what we fucking paid to get Dan Ashworth out of the Brighton contract. So if we can do it, why can't you lot do it? So it's just typical arrogance of Manchester United and typical arrogance of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who has come into football, and English football that is. I know he's had Nice for a while, but he's come into English football with some kind of weird perception that he just clicks his fingers and shit comes to him. That's obviously an exceedingly wealthy man's mentality, but that ain't going to happen here, Jim. Pay the fucking bill if you want the guy. Pay the bill and you can get your little weasel shithouse of a sporting director who will probably fucking leave you lot if Real Madrid or Barcelona come calling one day as well. But this is getting quite ugly now, I think, for Dan Ashworth in particular. Doesn't matter, fuck the Newcastle. I think they dig their heels in as long as they can. It doesn't reflect bad on Newcastle whatsoever. It makes Sir Jim Ratcliffe look like a fucking, budget Barry, that he's not willing to pay the money to get the guy that he thinks is going to transform Manchester United. You obviously don't value him that much, mate. In terms of Newcastle, our search for a sporting director goes on. I think that'll be done before the PSR deadline. We'll have our new guy ready to go, and then Dan Ashworth could still be pruning the fucking flowers in the garden. So let us know what you guys think about this whole Ashworth saga. Are you sick of it? Do you just want the little prick away and gone? Or are you happy for the club to dig their heels in for as long as they can and make it difficult for Manchester United? I know which one I prefer, but long may it continue, and hopefully we'll have our sporting director in soon and we can go out and get all the targets we want while Dan Ashworth is still staring at his garden. Have a good day, everybody. Subscribe, like the video. We'll catch you later. Cheers.